Hey guys, welcome to another week, another episode of the Amen Channel podcast. You know, this is your boy Luis, and this is my co-host.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Jeff.
Hey, you already know, guys. Well, I hope this series has been a blessing for you guys. This Uproot series, you know, again, we uprooting some things. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like this is definitely. I know for me, this has personally been one of the most toughest things to keep just touching about, reading about, because it's self-reflection of ourselves, you know, and our walk with God. But today, you know, I know last week we talked about y'all families.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And y'all were talking about your own families and your own issues. But today, this week episode, we're gonna be dealing with the biggest idol that comes against God. I'm not ready for it, man.
Bro, I think we need to bring out the mirror.
Bro, we better bring out the mirror. You know, just like what Michael Jackson said, you know, in one of his songs, you know, man in the mirror. Today, we're going to be dealing with the God of me.
That's right. I know you.
Bro, this is.
I know you're gonna hit them with that line right there, man.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring it. I didn't mean to bring Michael Jackson.
You gotta be singing that in my head right now.
Yeah, well, everybody started moonwalking.
Oh, nah, for real
though. But in all seriousness, guys, like us, we are the greatest threat to God.
That's right.
Ourselves, and which is the reason why we kind of saved this one kind of for the last one, because this is the one that hits home. This is literally you. It's me against God, you know. And Jeff, you know, question for you, man. Has there ever been an experience for you when you put yourself above God?
Yeah, bro, definitely. There's a whole plethora of examples that I can give, but you know, definitely one that stands out to me was, you know, I've been praying for, you know, a job, you know, for God to bless me with. And, you know, when I did get that job, you know, after, you know, praying and, you know, seeking God, like, you know, I felt as though, like, you know, I was in control of, you know, having this job, you know, and, you know, when I was blessed with, you know, the finances and all that stuff that the job provided for me, you know, I didn't give back to God, you know, in regards to tithes. And, you know, God convicted me on that too, because, like, you know, he kind of had to remind me, like, who blessed you with this job? Who gave you this opportunity to work in this area? You know what I mean? Like, you didn't get this job on your own. Like, you know, I'm the one that gave you this job, so why aren't you giving back to me? You know, the source. You know, in the way I was being selfish with, you know, what God has blessed me with. You know, and I kind of, you know, became my own God in a way. You know, I was feeling myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was splurging, you know, because, you know, given, you know, COVID and all that stuff, like, you know, student loans were put on hold. So, you know, I was able to buy, you know, more shoes. And that's another podcast story for another day, because I definitely have a problem with that. But literally, I'm like, yo, you're buying all these material things when you're not investing back into the guy and the God that blessed you with this job. And, you know, God convicted him in that area, because, like, yo, like, all the things that we receive in this life is from God, and we have an obligation to give back, you know, because you know, God is sovereign, God is love, man, and that's definitely an example of me, you know, being my own God in that area. So, you know, obviously still working on it, you know what I mean. God has definitely gotten my attention on it, and it'll definitely be dealt with. But for you, Luis, you know, is there ever, or was a time that, you know, you put yourself before God?
Was there ever a time, man? How much time you got? Yeah, no, there's been multiple times that I put myself before God. But I guess the one that kind of hits home to me was probably 5 years ago, where, you know, it was just a time that, like, I felt like I was ready for a relationship, and that I wanted to be in a relationship, that I wanted to, you know, find the one that I want to be married to and stuff like that. And you know, looking back now, there was so many signs that God was like, not now, not right now. Be patient. Don't do this. Here's a red flag for you. Here, look, I literally dropped a red flag for you. Do you see this? Do you see this? Do you see this? And my own stubbornness, my own arrogance, I definitely did not listen to any of those signs because I believed I knew what I was doing. I believed that I was the man. I was like in control of it all.
Right.
You know, and you know, forced my way into a relationship, made it work or whatever. Tried to make it work. Tried to make it work.
Right.
But because of my disobedience, it actually led to like so much other things that I was hiding in myself. You know, with anger, you know what I mean, with not having self-control,
right.
You know, leading into, you know, sexual sin, leading to just, you know, other things that God was like, if you just listen to me, if you just listen to me.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing about this thing that we're trying to uproot, is that God's like, are you willing to listen to me? You know, because here's what I'm going to give you guys. I'm going to give you 3 points real quick of symptoms when it comes to the God of me.
Right.
When you start to realize that, like, oh snap, I'm putting myself above God.
Right.
Here's the first point, and I said it earlier when I just talked. Arrogance.
Well, you be feeling yourself, man. That's literally it.
Man.
You know
what I mean? Like, especially us guys, man. Like, we always think we're right.
Oh, for sure. You know, like that's so true, man. Like, we just have this pride issue, you know, and I think that's where pride comes in. Like, you know, we want to feel like, you know, we have everything together, that you know, we're always right. And personally, for me, I hate being wrong. Like, you can ask anybody.
I feel that,
like, I hate being wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel as though like I'm vulnerable when I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, yikes! I don't know everything. You know?
And and what I love what you just said, it leaves me vulnerable.
Right.
You know what's crazy? When we put ourselves above God, and the reason why we get like offended or we get like, oh man, like I don't want to listen to you, is kind of like, because when we put ourselves as God, we think that we're perfect.
Right. Exactly.
You know? And then when things come to reality, it's like, hey, oh snap, wait, I'm not perfect.
Right.
Oh snap, wait, I'm leaving myself vulnerable for things that like I don't want, because I think I'm right, or you know, like, and that's the dangerous thing. I know, like I was saying 5 years ago, there were so many people telling me like, yo, Luis, like this ain't it.
Right.
Yeah, even you told me, you're like, yo, this ain't it, bro. It's a cycle. I remember literally you told me it's a cycle. It's not good for you.
Right.
And what did I do? I didn't listen. You said, hold up, guys, you gotta get yourself a friend that'll put you in check, even though when you don't want it. All right.
Right.
Because you're gonna end up like me, making mad mistakes, and that's the thing about this thing about God and me, is that it doesn't just affect you. It affects everybody around you.
That's right.
You know?
And it's crazy because like when you think about cycles, you know, you don't understand that you don't realize that you're in a cycle because you're in it. You know what I'm saying? So you need other people and friends who will kind of like get you out that little like phase that you're in, you know what I'm saying? Or that cycle that you're in. And, you know, check you, because, you know, like I said, when you're in a cycle, like you only are focused on what it is that you are going through or what it is that you're experiencing. And, you know, and I think that also leads to just like what we talked about before, like arrogance. You know, you're just, okay, I got it under control. And okay, I messed up this time. It's okay, I got it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Literally, you don't got it. You know what I'm saying? And you start to realize that soon, and soon the cycle turns into, you know, other sins that are underlying with it as well. So.
Yeah, and then it kind of leads to the second point, which is insecurity.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we're so consumed with what other things and terrified of failing. Like I know, like for myself, when everybody like, especially when it's like a close friend, you're like a close brother. You know what I mean? When saying like, yo, like you in a cycle, bro. Like you need to stop this. And it's like, oh man, like I was so consumed with other people thought of me,
right.
or so consumed of like trying to do it my way that I was like, yo, I can't let this fail.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like if I put myself as God, and that means I can't fail, because you know I think I'm God.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and that's the dangerous part.
Right. You know, and like that's I like that point too. Like you say you think you put yourself as God, and you know that's kind of how like you know Eve got tempted in the garden. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you know the devil said, hey, like eat of this tree. And obviously this is not word for word, but basically he was saying like, and you will become like God, you know? And, you know, that's the thing about the God of me, you know, it always, you know, promises that you will be someone that you will never be, you know? And, you know, our life is not our own, you know, our life belongs to Jesus himself. And when we give it to the enemy to take control, and we give it to ourselves, and we give ourselves the power, then we'll always fail.
Yo, bro. That is so good that you bring that up, you know, about Eve and the serpent. Because it actually leads me to my third point, which is the last point, which is actually it's me versus God. Just like how, you know, the serpent tries to make us think that we can become God. You know, the enemy is like, yo, you can become God if you just do this and that and this. And it's like, you know, reality, in all truth, it's like, it all comes down to this. Am I going to choose myself?
Right.
Or I'm going to choose what God told me? You know, and,
right.
You know, what I learned is whatever is your devotion will be your direction.
That's good, bro. That's so good.
You know what I mean? If I'm devoted to myself, guess who's going to be directing me?
Right.
Myself.
Right. Yeah, that's so true, bro. That's so good.
You know? And what's so dangerous about this, man, is that as men that we want to be, you know what I mean? We want to be men of God. In order for us to be men of God, we got to be humble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's so true.
And I think about Philippians 2, you know what I mean? It's the first 4 verses that I'm going to read, but I think about, you know, trying to be humble, because guys, guess what? When we're born, it's not easy to be humble.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's not. No, you're right about that. You know, we're born selfish as children, literally.
Yeah, literally. Like you don't have to tell a kid, like they don't. You have to teach a kid how to share.
Right. Everything is mine, mine, mine.
Yeah. The kid's just like mine, and that's how we grow up. We grow up as like, yo, this is all mine.
Right.
This is it's all mine.
And that's such a good picture if you think about it, because like literally, it's like, you know, parents give children these things, right?
Yeah.
And then literally we're all like, mine, mine, mine. And that's literally, I guarantee that's how God's looking at it. It's like, wow, these children are very selfish, you know? Like, I give you, yeah, like,
he like,
did you provide this for yourself? I don't think so. You know what I mean?
He's like, God's like, wait, you brought yourself into this world?
Right.
No? Okay.
Exactly.
Whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But yeah. So we got to be humble, guys. And, you know, in Philippians 2, you know, verse 1, you know, this is what the word of God says. It says, therefore, if you have any encouragement from being united with Christ,
Amen.
If any comfort from his love, if any common sharing in the Spirit, if any tenderness and compassion, then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit and of one mind. Wow. Do nothing out of the selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. Right. Not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interest of others.
Right. Bro, that is fire.
And we say it's fire, but then when we actually try to put it into action, we don't want to do it.
Bro, chill. Why you come for me, huh? I just said I'll try to gas you up, and you come crazy at me. All right, jeez. You had me right now.
No, but it's
no,
so true, though.
You're right. You're right.
No, but it's so true because there's going to be so many of you listening and being like, yo, that is such a deep verse, Luis. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And it's like, okay. No, I just wanted, no, it was a good read. That's it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the dangerous part. You know, we're so accustomed, because I fall into this, so accustomed going to church and saying, that's a good word, pastor. And then, and the next day not actually applying that word. You know, and that's why I'm going to relate this back to the foundations, because the second pillar we said was to love your neighbor as yourself. Right. You know, and you know what's crazy, Jeff? Now that I'm realizing, the first two pillars, the two critical ones, before you get to 3 and 4, never talked about loving ourselves.
Bro, like, out of all the ones that we talked about, like, it literally says, it doesn't even bring us, like, love yourself. And again, that's not to say you shouldn't love yourself, right?
Yeah, love yourself.
But I think, looking back at this, I realized that God did this for a purpose, a reason, because he knew that if we put ourselves in the equation and put ourselves first, then there'll be no room for the other rules and regulations he gave us. You know, like, we wouldn't be able to love God with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength. Yeah. We wouldn't be able to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. That's right. True. Because he knows how dangerous it is to put yourselves first before, you know, other things. Because, like we talked about, the God of me leads to other things. And that's why we did this last, again, because the God of me leads to, you know, the idol of loving money, you know, the idol of sex, the idol of, you know, of entertainment. You know, all these other idols also are root. You know, well, the God of me is the root of all these other idols. And if we put ourselves in the equation first, there is no room for God. And obviously, God is, or should be, number one. So.
Yeah, and it's so true, you know, and it says, do nothing out of selfish ambition. Right. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself. Wow. And I'm going to say this, and I don't want no one to get mad, because I'm going to speak God's truth and not my truth. Okay. You know, everybody in America is getting so butthurt, you know what I mean, with valuing the American dream or the American way of life, when in reality, whoever calls yourselves Christians, you need to put God's value above America's values.
Right. That's so good, bro.
You know what I mean? Like, no nation will be your saving grace. And, you know, it's so prevalent nowadays, too, because everybody wants to be right.
Yeah, for sure.
No one can have an honest communication. How can we grow if we can't communicate? That's the one thing that we actually, like, emphasize in relationships, in marriages. Right. We say you want your marriage to be fruitful and have a long-lasting marriage. Right. Communicate. But we as people, we don't want to communicate nowadays. And I say this because, guys, I want you guys to realize what the culture is showing us is to stop communicating and try to be right. And God is showing the opposite. Be humble, communicate, and put my ways above your ways. Right. You know? And it's so dangerous, because, you know, the God of me, because, you know, I look at Jeremiah 17, 9 to 10, you know what I mean? This what, you know, God was talking to the prophet Jeremiah, and this is what he says. And this right here I'm about to read is actually kind of scary, to be honest. If you actually if you think about it in God's perspective. Right. Looking down on us. You know what I mean? This is what it says. It says, the heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind, to reward each person according to their conduct. Right. According to what their deeds deserve.
Sheesh.
Bro, that's just the first sentence was scary. The heart is deceitful above all else,
Right.
above all things, and beyond cure. Bro,
that's
like,
scary, man.
It's beyond cure.
Right. And hearing that, I just think about, what that looks like with us becoming our own gods, because our hearts are deceitful. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that, you can't put yourself first, right?
Right.
And say that you love God, or you say you can love people, because when that happens, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you only look out for the best of interests of your own. There's no room for the interests of God and the interests of other people, because you're so focused on your own self, and I'm not just, and again, I said this before, like, it's not to say that you shouldn't love yourself, you shouldn't care for yourself, you shouldn't put yourself, in the equation, of course not, this is, you're you, but it's so important that we should put God first and other people, because there is bigger fruit to bear when we put them in front of us. You know what I'm saying? And, continuing on with that verse, if you look at Jeremiah 2:13, Jesus said, my people will have committed 2 sins. They have forsaken me, the spring of living water, and have dug up their own cisterns, broken cisterns that cannot hold water. You know what I'm saying? And we have traded in living water for our own broken cisterns. Oh yeah, it's my life. Like, I got it under control, God. Don't worry about it.
Right.
And all the time we run back to Him. What does that tell you? Shouldn't that tell you that we are not in control of our lives? That we don't have the power to rule over our lives? Because if we had the power to rule over our lives, then there'll be no need for God, right?
Right.
Because we have that realization that when sin came into this earth, right? Everything was dandy, everything was good. Our relationship with God was straight. But when sin came to this earth, our cisterns became broken. We weren't connected to the living water. We weren't receiving water anywhere. And it's like, how can we be, how can we say we are men of God, right? If we are in control of our own lives, we feel like we're number one in our lives. No, we can't, man. Like,
it doesn't work.
We can't serve 2 masters, man. And if we let God take control, man, that living water will flow, bro. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, our cups will be overflowing to a point where we can pour into other people.
Bro, that's so good. That is so
good.
I
mean, we could then pour, and then it will help us to do the 4th pillar.
Right.
The Great Commission to make disciples of all nations.
Right.
You know what I mean? Teaching the ways that Jesus commanded.
That's so good.
Not the ways that Luis commanded, not the ways that Jeff commanded. The ways that Jesus commanded, the way that God taught us in His teachings, because His teachings last forever. They're eternal.
Amen.
They will never die. That's the great thing about God, is that His character is true yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
That's so good.
And when you think about that sister that you were talking about, the whole thing, I think about, a question that Jesus talked to a certain person, a Samaritan woman, that we actually could read about in John 4. It's crazy. I'm not going to go through it all. You guys can read that for yourselves. Be good Christians and read the Bible.
Y'all be quizzed next week, all right?
Yeah, and the quiz next week. I need a 10-page paper and stuff.
Right.
No single space.
King James version, all right?
But yeah, King James version. Dang, bro, that's messed up. But yeah, so John 4, just to give you guys a little story about it. Jesus was actually growing. He was booming. You know what I mean? He was being successful. He was baptizing people more than John the Baptist, which is crazy. It was like, whoa, what the heck is going on? And people heard about this. They were like, yo, Jesus is doing all this stuff. Yo, he's crazy. And he was like, you know what? I think it's my time to go back to Galilee. You know, and he was in Judea, and between Judea and Galilee, there's Samaria, and back then, the Jews literally would take every path to avoid Samaria.
Yeah.
Jesus being the real homie and being, he was
just that guy.
Yeah, he's like, man, like y'all can do whatever y'all want. Y'all can walk around, but I'm going. It says in the Bible that he had to go through Samaria, meaning that he had a purpose to go through it.
Right.
Meaning that he already had an intention. He already had a purpose. He already had an idea of what he was going to do. He had a mission before we even knew it.
That's right.
And you read, and he goes to Samaria, and he gets to a point where, he gets to a well, and he tells his disciples to go and go get some food for him because my boy hungry.
Right.
Jesus like, look, y'all 12, I'm hungry. Yo, go find a Big Mac somewhere, go in town real quick.
Something.
Go find me a Chick-fil-A meal, you know what I'm saying?
Thanks.
And come back with it. But he stayed at the well, and what's so great about God is that he will stay where you are at.
That's good, bro. That's so good.
Not where we think we need to be. God will meet us where we're at. And at the well, we find the Samaritan woman. We don't even know her name, but we know her story.
Yeah.
We know that actually Jews and Samaritan people were not allowed to talk. Right. And Jesus did the outside thing. He started talking to her.
Yeah, he was all about breaking traditions, man. Literally.
Yeah. Literally broke traditions, culture, anything that society told him that you're not supposed to do. He was like, I'm going to love people. Get out of here. And, Jesus starts talking to this woman, and, he's like, yo, I'm thirsty. Can I get some of your water? And she's like, do you not know that I'm a Samaritan woman? We're not supposed to be talking, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is not the deal. And he goes like, if only you knew the gift of God that I can give you. If he's like, if you ask to drink from me, you will be given living water.
Right. And you'll never thirst again.
And you'll never thirst again. Right. And what's crazy is that this woman actually says yo, I'm going to take on your deal. Yo, this is crazy. You living water? I'll never thirst again? Bet. Nice. Let me get some of this water, please. Not knowing that he was talking about spiritual. And what's great is that, we sometimes come to God thinking that we need something physical, and God's like, nah, you need something spiritual.
Right. Well, that's so good.
Good, and that's the point. That's the thing about this God of me. The God of me thinks we need something right now because that's what we see, and God's like, you don't see the eternal.
Right.
I'm going to give you something eternal.
Right.
And what's good about this is that Jesus not only says yeah, I can give you living water, but answer my question. And it may be a question that God's asking you right now. Jesus asked her, it was go call your husband and come back. And
he was picking
for many of you, it's like, go and call your porn and come back.
Right.
Go call your money and call back and come back. Go call that relationship and come back.
Come on now.
And what's funny? This woman, she says, I have no husband. And she was straight up honest, and Jesus was like, no, you're right. You actually don't have a husband. You have 5 husbands, and you have actually another one that you're sleeping with right now.
God, yo, he did her dirty though.
Yo, that's kind of savage, to be honest.
Yo, that's so good, bro.
And what's crazy is that this woman didn't react and punch him. She, what she responded? She was like, yo, you must be a prophet. Like,
real.
I don't even know how you know that.
Right.
And that's the thing. God wants a personal relationship with us, that he will call out us. He will call out things that we're like, yo, we were trying to hide, because he's like, yo, look, I see it all. Come closer. I'm not running away, and what's great about this is that, this is one of the only times that actually Jesus proclaims that he is the Son of God.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because she she asked like, oh, I heard this guy, like the Messiah is gonna come and save us, whatever. Like he's gonna show us the way. Like,
Right.
but until then, like I'm gonna wait. And Jesus is like, yo, I am him. I am the way. I am the truth. I am the light. I am that Messiah that knows it all. You know? And
bro, that's so good. Just even thinking about that, like, man, like, and you know, just reflecting on the whole entire story of like the Samaritan woman, like, yo, like and this is kind of like a picture that you paint of, look at all the cups that are in front of you, you know, the God of sex, the God of money, the God of entertainment, the God of family, you know, the God of me. All these things are physical cup or physical drinks of water that you will drink, right? And you'll always be thirsty. You always go back for more because you think it's gonna fulfill something that will never ever fill you up. You know, because guess what? You're always gonna be thirsty for it every single time.
Yeah, so true.
You know, maybe I'll get filled this time if I watch this. Maybe you know if I you know have more money. You know what I'm saying? Like all my problems will go away.
Come on now.
No, you know what I mean? Only the living water, you know. Compared to all those other things, you'll never go thirsty again. Compared to living water. And I don't know about you, but I want living water.
Fact.
So at the end of the day, the question is, what are you guys thirsty for? Are you thirsty for all these cups that will always keep you thirsty?
Thirsty. Y'all looking thirsty.
Or are you thirsty for living water?
Oh yeah, for real. Y'all
Choose,
want that
man.
living water.
Choose, man.
Yeah, y'all gotta choose at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And we just wanted to be the way to remind you guys, like, hey, look, we have all these things. Like me and Jeff, we're not perfect, and
I don't even know.
we're actually gonna be talking about that.
Oh yeah.
You know. We're gonna actually be real and authentic with you guys and let you guys know, like, hey man, these are things that we've been dealing with that we had to surrender to God.
Right.
Some that we actually were free from, and some that we're still dealing with.
Right.
You know, and and the thing is, you know, about living water is that it will always satisfy you. You know, God will always satisfy us.
That's right.
You know, and what's so beautiful about God is that He'll meet us where we are.
That's good.
We can be broken. We can be doing whatever. You know what I mean? And God will still meet us. And He'll still say, like, yo, I am Him.
Right.
I am the God that saves. I'm the God that loves you so much.
That's right. That's right.
You know? And the thing about this series, we called it Uproot because we're uprooting all these things. In reality, we were digging the well where we can put the living water in.
That's good, bro.
Because guess what? Like Jeff said, we can look beautiful on the outside, but the inside, we need that living water.
That's right.
And I hope that you guys feel blessed on this series. You know what I mean? I hope you guys have been tuning in. And I hope that you guys continue to spread the word, subscribe to our channel, let people know. You know what I mean? Because we're bringing God's truth, not our truth.
That's good.
And next week, we're going to be talking about ourselves.
The God of Jeffrey and the God of Louise.
Yeah, the God of Jeff and the God of Louise. How it's going to go, only God will know.
Oh, for sure. For
bars.
Sure.
But
and the reason why we're doing this is because, you know, we want to let you guys know, like he said before, we're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? We tell you guys all these things, right? You know, because we want you guys to, you know, be better. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We want you guys to grow. But, you know, in order for you guys to trust us, you know, we have to lay all the cards out the table. You know, we have to be vulnerable. And as guys, you know, we don't want to be vulnerable. You know, we want to be, you know, secluded in our own space, and we don't want anybody to know what we're dealing with. But in order to uproot, you know what I'm saying, we have to expose things, right? When you uproot, you expose the sources, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, we hope that you guys will learn more and you guys will be better because God wants better for you. And, you know, God is the ultimate source, man. And, you know, reach out to him, man. He's the living water that we all need.
Exactly, guys. But, you know, tune in next week. It's going to be lit. It's going to be crazy.
It's going to be crazy,
and,
man.
This is your boy, Luis. I'm out.
It's your boy, Jeff. Love and peace, everyone.